And what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Designated Players and MLS podcast. But for the next month, we are the Designated Players, a World Cup podcast. It is World Cup time. We are here. We are locked in. For the next month, it is going to be previews, predictions, game week recaps, everything you want out of World Cup coverage we are going to bring to you. So make sure you are subscribing right now so you don't miss a second of the action. Because today I'm with my buddy Connor and we are doing the USMNT depth chart. Every position, 5 players deep, including some honorable mentions, of course. And then we're going to give you our predicted 26-man roster for the men's national team of the United States in the 2026 World Cup. Amanda, that's Connor. This is going to be a very fun month. Connor, how are we doing?
Listen, if we're gonna go for a rebrand and be the World Cup podcast, we need to change the name. There's no designated players in the World Cup. All right, so we got to
Uh,
fully rebrand for the next few months.
There are tons of designated players in the World Cup.
That's
Most of the
not their
designated
title.
players are going to the World Cup.
No. That's not their title in the World Cup, though. They're just a player on the team. They don't have this. There's no salary cap in the World Cup, but maybe
Yeah,
there should be.
not yet.
Yeah,
Not
maybe there
yet.
should be.
So a buddy of mine gave me a really fun hypothetical. He goes, Don's about to retire out of the out of his commissioner chair, right? What's it gonna take for him to run against Infantino and run FIFA for the next 10 years and just obliterate everything into the MLS model?
No joke. I would take Don Garber over Infantino in a heartbeat. And I know that's gonna come off as us just being Garber shills, which we are. Like, admittedly, we are.
Pay me, Don.
We don't call him Daddy Don for no reason, but I would still take him over Infantino's terrible. I would take literally a sack of potatoes over Infantino.
I think the only person I wouldn't take over Infantino is that Florentino Perez out of Real Madrid. That dude's a bum.
Those two would be like best friends. If those two like
I bet you they are.
ran, they probably are. If they ran an organization together, forget about it.
Oh
It'd be
man. Well,
it would
listen,
be the most money hungry organization in history.
the one thing I'm not gonna forget about is Scarf of the Week, because even though we are now a World Cup podcast, we are still hitting our friends with
Whoa,
scarves.
I'm not hitting any of my friends, by the way.
That's a
Andrew
lie.
might be, but I'm not.
That's a lie. Well, you're right. You're not hitting because you don't have friends in the first place. So
Well, then there you go.
got
But I'm
him.
not hitting them.
Got him. What are you rocking?
I am rocking my USA scarf because, of
Nice.
course, we're talking about the USA today, and we're talking about Smata Relit. Is it backwards for you, or is it just for me?
Just for you.
Well, then that little thing didn't make any sense.
Not even a little bit. I've got my US scarf from the Copa America Centenario. I'm so excited for a couple reasons. One, Matt had gotten me a ton of random nation scarves. So we got Saudi Arabia somewhere like in here. I believe Iran is here, and then down here is Ukraine. So two of the three are in the World Cup for now, depending on what goes on geopolitically in the next week and a half. But there's going to be a very, very important new scarf added to this wall. And
Oh
that
wait, you forgot one. Chicago Fire also. That's
that's
three.
right. And that's actually right here. It's I still have it on there. They might win they don't have Bastian Schweinsteiger, but they might win the World Cup. Um,
They might. Don't count them out.
we have officially, Matt and I have officially secured tickets to go to see Uzbekistan versus the Congo on his visit in June. So we are going to the World Cup. We're so excited.
That's that's a crazy matchup to go on. Only in the expanded World Cup would you ever see that matchup.
So I texted him one day and I was like, what is the most that you would spend hypothetically to go see a World Cup game? And he's like, put a number out there. And I Googled it, and the numbers were not nearly as bad as I thought they were going to be. They're not, cheap, but they weren't dumb expensive. And, we had talked about it for years. I mean, literally 6 years. Ever since this was announced, we were like, we're going to a game. Now, did we anticipate going to the men's national team playing in the World Cup final in MetLife Stadium? Yes. But considering we don't have that sort of money, I just bought a car, he just bought a house. Yeah,
Sell the house, sell the car. Come on now. Priorities, man.
we settled for Uzbekistan and the Congo. So, but no, it's going to be great. It may get its own, it may go up over the door here as its own little display there because,
Why you like putting it in the corner of shame?
well, no, so it can be displayed long ways instead of hanging up just as a normal one. It'd be special.
Yeah, okay. I mean, listen, some people call Uzbekistan the US of Europe, so or Asia. Um,
Wherever they are. One of
they're
those countries
definitely
over
Asia.
there.
They're not Europe. Some people call them the Americans probably call them the US of Europe because they don't know geography.
As you've shown. Oh man. Listen, we can chat small talk all day. Maybe we'll make a video of it too, me and Matt. I'll convince him to be a part of the pod for a day. But I really want to talk about where the USMNT depth chart lies heading into the 2026 World Cup. We are disgustingly injured, by the way. I was prepping this and I was like, oh my God, half of our like considerable players are all hurt. So
Yeah.
that's not
I
good.
only saw I only saw a few that are already like ruled out for the tournament though. Most of them are injured, but I haven't seen like definitively they're not going to be playing.
Most of the ones I saw that were injured are out. Now, that only took away like two players from my actual top five in each position, so it's not a huge deal. But it makes the list a little interesting. So I'll preface this by saying this is for at least for me, I don't know for you. This is a list of players who are healthy enough to make the World Cup when the rosters are announced. By the time this goes up, it'll be the 18th. The rosters I think are announced on the 26th, so we're making our predictions a week early. Cool. So we'll see if anybody comes back and gets in. But as of right now, recording on the 15th, this is the healthy top five at each position. So we'll look at the goalkeepers, the outside back, right and left, the center backs, the 6'8s, the tens, and then the nines. This is with the assumption that the USMNT are going to play in a 3-4-2-1 like they have been when they've been successful, and not in a 4-2-3-1. If they do that, you can move some of these players around and we'll be okay. But that's where I've gone with this. Is that how you set yours up as well?
I mean, I didn't really put it in a formation. I kind of just picked the guys that I think would be flexible enough to be in the 20 in the 26. I kept it in mind. I kept it in mind that there's a chance that they go four in the back or they go five in the back.
Sure.
So
No, that's fair.
there's some flexibility.
Yeah, yeah. And like I said, for me, I also tried to stick as close as I could to players that have featured under Pochettino already. So guys like Luca De La Torre really didn't get a big look because he hasn't been featured as often as some. Brandon Vasquez, right, the striker, really didn't get a ton of consideration in my team because he really hasn't featured as much. Maybe early on, but not too frequently. So that's kind of where I went with that.
Yeah,
All
you're gonna
right.
have to keep me honest on some of the injuries on this one. There's a
Yeah.
couple names that I saw that were definitely out,
Mhm.
but I only saw a few. So if any of these guys you think are out for the World Cup, I will make a swap.
Yep. And we'll use the power of editing and friendship to fix that. And by
Go
power of
team.
friendship, I mean I'm going to put it in the beginning of the episode and make you look silly.
That's what friends are for.
Good. All right. Well, we've waffled on enough. Shall we start in the back with our number one, the goalkeeper?
Yeah, I mean, I'm ready to make some people upset.
I want to hear your top five. Maybe start with your honorable mentions first, then go 5-1. But make it nice and clear so when I cut it for the TikToks, it'll go uh, dummy, right? Is that what they call it? They call it. It goes dummy now.
It'll
I
go
don't know.
dummy.
I don't know.
Goalkeeper. Talk about a position that has changed so much in the last few cycles for the US. This used to be the most locked down spot in the US, and I'd argue it's the most up for grabs and possibly one of the weaker positions in our team right now. Matt Freese has been the guy, the number one guy, I would say, as of recent. Who knows what it's going to look like going into the World Cup? My 5-1, my number five here, a little bit of a pipe dream. I don't think he's really got any shot at making it onto the roster, but he's been such a good keeper for the last few years. I feel like he just deserves the shout out. So I put Brad Stuver at five for me. He's
Okay.
been
Love it.
he's been such an underrated keeper for the last few years just because Austin have not been very good, but he's consistently been so solid for them. Again, I don't think he's getting in. He hasn't really been involved with the team ever, which is criminal, but I wanted to just get him on there. Besides the fact that like I just don't think the group is that strong. So the opportunity was there. At four, I've got your bestie, Chris Brady. I don't think he's I agree with you. I think he's kind of all over the place. He's either very good or he's very bad. I don't think if he makes the roster, I don't think he gets any game time. So I'm not very concerned about that anyway. But at the very best, I think he's number three on the team, and just get some experience training, experiencing traveling with the team. For me, my number three, I went with Pat Schulte here. I'm not crazy about it, but I really just was not crazy about the whole goalkeeper group in general. He's been okay. I feel like he's just kind of been o okay to good for like the last few seasons. He hasn't just, I don't think he's been at his best for a little while. At least it hasn't felt like it. But that being said, he's been in and around the team still pretty consistently over the last year and a half, year or so. And I think that could be enough to just grab him that last spot on the team. Again, I don't think he's getting any game time, whether you go with Brady or Schulte here, or probably anybody else, because your top two, I think, are pretty clear, at least in my opinion. And I'm going with a little bit of a controversial one here, but at two, I've got Matt Freese. I'm
Ooh.
going based on form here. Like Freese has been the number one for the team for a little while, and I think he's done a pretty solid job. But this season, he's been just okay and like okay to solid. Like he hasn't been one of the best in the league like he was a season or two ago. And I'm riding, I don't think Freese is that far ahead of everybody else where you just continue to play him at number one. I'm going with the hot hand here, and that for me is Matt Turner. And so I got Turner at number one. I understand his time in Europe was a big struggle, but now he's moved back to New England. I think he's found his form again. And, he's not going to be your keeper that's going to play well out of the back, but he's going to be your best shot stopper out of everybody in the goalkeeper group. So I'm going with him. There's going to be a lot of situations where if we want to beat the best teams, I think we're going to need a good shot stopper in goal. And that for me is Matt Turner.
Yeah, I mean, we're not terribly far off. I don't mind the shout. You obviously didn't watch what happened this weekend where Matt Turner had a ball go back to him and then he went to clear it and then fake cleared it, went to swing, swung and missed, had it taken off his foot and got scored on. Um, so,
It happens. It happens.
that's not in the World Cup, it doesn't. Um, at five, I've gone Roman Celentano, FC Cincinnati. At four, I've got Chris Brady. Three, I've got Patrick Schulte. Two, I've got Matt Turner, and one, I've got Matt Freese. Right, and this is an interesting one because I believe really the drop off from two to three, as we've spoken about a lot, is crazy, and the drop off of the three goalkeepers from three to five in my list, all of them who are vying to be the third goalkeeper at this World Cup, their drop off together as a group needs to be studied because it was one of those like, oh my God, this is a mad race. You got Celentano, who's one of the best goalkeepers, going up against Schulte. Both these guys going neck and neck. And whoa, Chris Brady comes out of nowhere. And then all of a sudden it's like we talked about Brady for a while. You've got Patrick Schulte and Roman Celentano, who both are just stinking it up this year, right? And it's not necessarily all their fault, but they just don't look good, right? You could convince me that Brady can go three. Brady might be in my 26. I'll tease that for, stick around and see if he makes my team.
Spoiler alert.
But if you had to ask me right now, and I'm going to take this from Steve Cangelosi, former Red Bull commentator now on Apple TV. He goes, if you had to pick a number three goalkeeper, like you said, probably not going to play. But if you had to pick a number three goalkeeper in the instance where somebody gets hurt and the other guy gets a red card, you want somebody who's got big game experience, not somebody who's going to take this game on his shoulders and say, "Oh no, now what?" Right? Patrick Schulte's played in MLS Cup, CONCACAF Champions Cup final, a couple of big important playoff games, things like that. Chris Brady just doesn't have that experience, right? Talent wise, yeah, maybe he's a step ahead of Schulte right now. But if you're looking at somebody who's been in the biggest games, Schulte's going to be that guy. And again, this is semantics. We're arguing the number three goalkeeper. I don't care. At the end of the day, I really don't care. Right? I think the bigger conversation is one that you had between Matt Turner and Matt Freese. Genuinely, I had Matt Turner at number one until I watched what he did in the game last week, and it dropped him again. Because at the end of the day, you just can't make those mistakes and be the number one goalkeeper in the pool. You just can't. And you put it really, really well. You cannot, you got to go with the hot hand. That's not the hot hand to me. Yeah, he's stopping shots really well, but this is a different level, right? This is you don't get away with that sort of stuff in, you didn't get away with it in MLS, but you definitely don't get away with it against, Turkey, right? Or Turkey A. But this is a shambolic group for what it should be, right? US national team is supposed to develop the best goalkeepers in the world, period. Unfortunately, they've not done that. So disappointing. But it's what we have to deal with, right? I think Matt Freese is good enough. I also don't think Poch is going to switch anything up. He's been going with Freese forever now. He gave Turner his shot, didn't do enough to prove that he could be number one, I guess. I mean, again, it is really up to it. And I just don't, I think he's going to have a lineup set, and I don't think it's going to be Turner this time around. I think that he'll be ready to be the number two. And if he gets called upon, he'll do it. But I just don't know if Poch trusts him. So that's my five. I also threw honorable mentions in there for just any of the players who kind of featured for him. So Zach Steffen was a guy who played for him for a half minute and
Please no. Keep him as far away
get
from his
him
team as
away.
possible.
Yeah. Diego Cochin got into a camp. Still haven't seen him play, which is kind of disappointing. Ethan Horvath, no. Klinsmann was the other one who probably would have taken Celentano's spot. He's doing really well over in Italy right now, but he broke his neck, some crazy like neck injury. So he's out. And the other one would have been Duran Ferre from San Diego, but again, just not enough experience both with the group and at the international level to be called in here. So that's my goalkeeper 5-1. Yeah, I absolutely love that Brad Stuver shout. By the way, like if it wasn't me picking just the guys who I think have the best shot in the national team, he would have been in there for me. He's been fantastic for the last 5 years, but it's just clear he's not in the picture. So I went with people who were going to be in the picture as best I could. There were some positions as we're going to lead up to here that I didn't have a choice. Some of these people in here are kind of, I'm going to put in air quotes, meme picks because I genuinely I couldn't find anybody else. That's how down bad we were.
Yeah,
Um,
I feel that.
Speaking of, let's go to the left back. That's one of my positions here. That is just we're down pretty bad. Give me your
Yep.
5-1 and let's chat about it.
All right, my 5-1, and then I'll kind of dive into the list itself. And boy, as you said, it is number one. It is 50,000 feet, and then your next person. 5-1. I got John Tolkien, George Bello, Christopher Lund, Max Arston, and Anthony Robinson.
Yeah.
This has to be by far the biggest gap between one and everybody else. Like not even close. It is monumental, the gap between number one. No, the number one, Anthony Robinson, might be the best player on the U.S. men's national team, to be honest with you.
Oh,
And
100%.
then everybody else behind him, huh?
100%. I mean, I don't think
Yeah.
it's relatively close.
I think if everybody's on their game, I think it's close. But yeah, I mean, he's miles ahead of everybody right now. At least it feels like. I think Pulisic's the only one that's close to him, and maybe Chris Richards. But yeah, I went with Tolkien at five. He's been getting a decent amount of game time in the second Bundesliga, but considering level of competition, I also think he has some kind of injury right now. He made the list mainly for the fact that there just really isn't a lot of other options.
Hmm.
George Bello, I feel like was a sneaky one to get on here. He actually played a ton this season for a LASK team that won the Austrian Bundesliga. So I mean, you want to talk about hot hand again? I don't think he's. I mean, spoiler alert. I don't think he's in the conversation at all to make the actual team. But considering he was a starting left back for a team that won their division in a relatively competitive division, I feel like I kind of had to get him in the top five there. Christopher Lund, another guy that was playing pretty consistently this year for, not even going to try to pronounce it, in the Bundesliga. Avoided relegation. I think, was he a world beater? Probably not. But I mean, you're talking about a guy that was getting pretty much every day starts for a Bundesliga side. I think he slotted well in third there. Arston second for me. I don't even necessarily think that Arston is like the more talented player out of the other three. For me, he just gives you more versatility than the other three do. Anthony Robinson's your out and out left back. Like there's no questions about it. So long as he's healthy, you're not replacing him with anybody else. Like he should be going the full 90 every single game, pretty much no matter what. So for me, Arsenal was number two because you could get a little bit more versatility with him. If you go five in the back, he's going to be a good wing back option for you. If you got really desperate and you needed to throw somebody forward, or like the recent friendlies, if you need somebody on the left, like midfield spot, I think he's actually really good there. Like we know he can do a lot going forward. It's his defense that is the big issue. And then Anthony Robinson, there really is no explanation needed for this one. As we said, probably the best player in the U.S. men's national team, easily number one starter.
Yeah. I think we're very close again, and thank goodness you brought up George Bello because my number five originally, and I was able to edit this now that you went first. My number five was Matty Dos Santos because genuinely I could not find a fit left
Matty
back.
Dos Santos.
I
Is
I
this the
literally
meme pick that
I
you were
went on
talking
to
about?
I went on to Who Scored and I was like American left backs and he was just the highest rated in MLS. So I'm like I guess I'll put him because I don't know who else plays there. I forgot George Bello
Someday he'll be there.
existed. Oh,
Someday he'll be there.
100%. 100%. I just forgot George Bello existed because he went off and sadly my Austrian Bundesliga knowledge is not up to par. Um, but stats speak for themselves. John Tolkien hurt and it's an MCL. He was done for a few weeks. He's not going to play up until at least the selection date. I doubt he's in the running. DeJuan Jones was also somebody I looked at. He was a guy that I thought was looking pretty good, and then he hurt his knee, so he's out too.
Yep.
So my five are Caleb Wiley at five, George Bello at four,
Crazy.
Christopher Lund at three, Max Arston at two, and Anthony Robinson at one. So again, very, very close. We're
Yeah.
down really bad for left backs.
Really bad.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and again, Max Arston being two is strictly with the idea that left back is really left wing back. If this goes into
Yep.
a four back, Max Arston goes off the list, and I'll put
Yep.
injure. I'll put Matty Dos Santos above Max Arston at left back.
I couldn't agree more. I'll take I'll take Tolkien or DeJuan Jones on one leg.
Literally. No doubt about that. So big emphasis on when we say left back, it's left wing back. Caleb Wiley is the fifth guy because there was nobody left. Caleb Wiley was actually my four because Matty Dos Santos was five. Uh, but I was able to
Caleb
drop
Wiley,
him.
just so you know, has not played a game since October,
Oh,
so
I'm
he
well aware.
cannot be Caleb Wiley.
I'm well aware. That's why. But who else are we gonna put there? Will you take
I
Matty
have
Dos
no idea,
Santos?
honestly. I have no clue.
Maybe you do
Maybe
take
we
Matty.
should just put Matty Dos Santos on there.
No, I'll keep Caleb Wiley, but again, this is one of those things where like everybody needs to go to Europe yesterday. They need to go right now. Caleb Wiley was probably in the mix to be a contender for the left back spot. Went over to Chelsea and ruined his chance. Right, and this is the whole point about you have to move to the right club, not just a European club with big name and big money. Sorry, it's just the way it is. Really love your points on George Bello. Again, not somebody I had prepped to speak about, but surprising number of minutes in that team that won the league. So definitely, genuinely surprised he hasn't been given more of a shout. In friendlies and upcoming training sessions and such. Very very strange. Christopher Lund, you hit on him really well. And it's he plays for Cologne, not a difficult
See,
one
you
to.
don't even know how to say it either. So
Yeah, but
you
you
gave two
made it
different
sound like he
options.
was playing in the Swedish third division. And he was like,
No, but I'm
there's a
not.
bunch of A's with dots over the top of it. You're like, I don't know what to do.
Listen,
Um,
I'm not trying to butcher it royally.
yeah,
I know for a fact that it's definitely not like Colm.
yeah.
I think it's like some kind of R sound, but I don't know it, so I'm
No,
not
I
gonna
think
try.
it's Cologne. I think it's Cologne. Like,
Like the stuff you spray on your body.
I think so. Or yeah, I don't know. Somebody in the comments tell us because we don't have any
I'm
of
just
those.
gonna look it up.
Go ahead, do it. Max Arfston, I think, is number two only because of, like we said, the left wing back thing. Go ahead, Connor. Hit me with the pronunciation.
Colm.
All right, so it was Colin. I had it right the first time.
You said cologne.
Well, yes, but I got it right the first time. So with the power of editing and friendship, I'm going to cut all that other stuff, and I'm going to get it right the first time.
With the power of
Um,
editing and friendship, this is now the opening clip.
yeah, Max Arfston as a left wing back gives us a ton going forward, and you don't have to worry about him defending too much because you'll have three center backs to help him out. That is a good position for him. If Poch is crazy and tries to keep him as a pure left back, we will get grouped. No,
Yep.
and that's not an exaggeration.
No, I
And
100% agree.
Anthony Robinson is the best player in the national team. The difference of having him versus not having him was immense. I mean, he came in and just made everything click. He's got an engine that can go for 120 minutes every single game. He gets involved in the attack. He's got great service from wide areas. He's a stand-up defender, and he will fight until the whistle blows. The best player in the national team. I don't do jerseys with names on them unless they're gifts, of course. But if I were to get one, he'd be the guy I get. because that dude is a the pure example of what I want in a footballer.
Yeah, couldn't agree more.
Right. Well, then let's chat right backs because this might be our first shock for a lot of people.
I feel like I know where you're gonna go with this. But I don't think mine's very shocking. Mine's pretty par up to par. But if you're making the call that I think you're making, I'd be okay with it.
All right, well, let's find out.
Um,
Give me your 5-1 and we'll chat.
yep, 5-1 right back for me. And actually, I'll give you the analysis out there. 5-1 right back for me. I've gone for Nathan Harriel, Marlon Fossey, Joe Scally, Alex Freeman, and Serginho Dest. Now, number five, you could literally throw anybody in the entire world in there. I really don't care. I struggled to find whoever for number five. You could throw any right back you want in there for
Nathan
me.
Harriel is criminal. That
I
dude doesn't belong on
genuinely
an
like
MLS pitch, let alone a national team pitch.
that's totally fine. I understand that. I 100%. I had four names on there and I was like, oh, I need to throw somebody else on there. Let me just throw somebody. Marlon Fossey, I don't really know a ton about him. I know he plays for, I believe, Standard Liège in Belgium.
Hmm.
And by that standards, Euro, he has to be on the list. So
Uh,
got to get him there at number four. Uh, Joe Scally at three for me. I really don't know where Scally's going to end up. I know Scally's done a little bit of left back work, and considering how bad the left back depth chart is,
yeah,
I'd kind of prefer him to be our second option at left back. Listen, he's a guy that gets a lot of time in Europe and gets his chances with the national team, but he's never been anything outstanding for me. And for me, the first two guys I've seen performances with from them in the national team that I've been more optimistic with. Alex Freeman has been someone that's climbed up this list very quickly. I've really enjoyed watching him develop and become a part of the national team. I think he's a really, really good player. I also think that he could be a versatile option for us in a back three if we needed to throw him in there. I think he could get the job done. And then for me, Serginho Dest is first here. I think mainly because if we're going to continue to go with that wing back kind of shape, I think Serginho Dest is a little bit of a better wing back option than Alex Freeman. That being said, both of those guys for me, and this is a little bit of a spoiler alert, but both those guys for me need to be on the plane. So I think they'll give us different options and give us the ability to change our shape. But I still think Dest is the most talented at the right back spot as of right now, as much as he is a wild card because you have no idea what he's going to bring to the table.
I only remember Marlon Fossey from FIFA 20 Ultimate Team, and he had a bronze card at Fulham that I just packed all the time in bronze pack method, and I was like, oh, this American guy. He is the captain of Standard Liège right now, which is crazy
Really? I
because
didn't know he was the captain.
nobody talks about him, and it's like that's kind of crazy, right? It's not like he's the captain of a third division German side, right? Like this is like or that there's a guy who played for Red Bull way back in the day who like is now the captain of some German third division side. I think his name is Bustamante.
You would know better than I would.
Yeah, I'd have to look it up. But anyways, yeah, I just did a quick Google on Marlon Fossey. I'm like, this dude. I mean, the reason he hasn't been called in is he was hurt this year. So he tore a muscle somewhere and missed 4 months, and then at the back end of the season he hurt his hamstring again. So he's just not been in the mix mainly physically. But it's not a bad shout. And again, he's 27, so maybe he gets a look for near future, right? John Camp or Gold Cup or whatever. But very, very impressive for a guy not many people talk about, which is kind of weird.
Yeah.
My five, and here's where I think it depends on what shape we're playing and who you classify there. At number five, I've got Tim Weah. At number four, I've got Joe Scally. At number three, I've got Xavier Gozo out of RSL. Baller. We'll talk about it. We'll talk about it. Alex Freeman at two, Serginho Dest at one, just like you. Tim Weah as the number five guy. I don't like him as a right back. I like him a little bit more as a right wing back, but I just think he needs to be a pure out and out winger. The problem is we don't have any of those. So if you're going to put him in, fine, right? I just don't think he covered himself in any bit of glory in the last couple of times they played him there. I'll stick him in there. Joe Scally at four because I agree with you. I think he's either going to slide in at left back if we need coverage, or he's going to be one of the three center backs in the back five. So as a pure right back, he can do a job. but I rate other people over him. I'd like him better as a right center back. Xavier Gozo is the biggest talking point out of MLS that's not named Julian Hall right now, and for good reason. This dude is one of the most exciting players I've ever watched play. He has levels to him for a kid that is just you didn't. I remember opening 2024 MLS Chrome. Every player, obviously, I knew because I know ball. And then I got this kid goes. I'm like, who is this? I never knew who he was, but I've got a whole bunch of his rookie cards sitting around that are going to go for bank one day because this dude is the real deal. Now, there's a lot of conversation. I mean, a lot of conversation over what do we do with him, right? There's going to be one extra spot. We talked about this a couple weeks ago when Ajman went down. There's going to be one extra spot for somebody. What are we going to do with it? People are really, really pushing to get Xavier Gozo in that team. There are now rumors that certain European teams from Spain, France, Italy, etc., are throwing $20 million bids out there for this kid. He never looks like he is phased by any opportunity, right? He takes everything in stride. The reason he's here is because if he was going to take a spot, it'd be spot 26. Would he get any minutes? Probably not. Would he get really good experience and learn what it's like to be in the national team? Probably. I don't know what any of his youth national team history looks like. But the kid, if you, I am always on board for using spot 26 for a player who has just immense potential and say, hey, this is what it's all about. I think Gozo can be that guy.
I don't like I disagree. I don't like using spot 26 on that. Any other tournament, fine, but not the World Cup. Like this has to be all
How
hands on
often does
deck.
spot 26 get on the field?
Probably very small chance.
Correct.
But in the weird chance that they do, I'd rather it be somebody that knows the system, has experience. Like he's been like he looks like he's gonna have so much potential and he's gonna be a part of this U.S. men's national team at some point. No questions about it. But like, are we really gonna bring a guy who just turned 19, has never played with probably any of these guys in the national team, doesn't know the system, and we're gonna for the first time bring him in for the World Cup? Not even
Maybe.
any lead up before it.
Hey, we got two friendlies,
Yeah, you're right. He's gonna
and
learn the
I'll
whole system and get the chemistry of two
and I'll be at
friendlies.
one of them, and I'll be at one of them, so I could tell you,
Oh, so you could coach him from the
I could coach
stands.
him from the stands. Absolutely, I could just go, hey,
Got
just,
it. Got
just,
it. Well, I mean, when you put it that way.
it's a lock, right? But and Jenny, right? So again, thinking 3-4-2-1. Name outside of Serginho Dest, name a better right wing back right now. I don't think it's Tim Weah
From the attack,
from both sides of the ball. I don't think it's Tim Weah. I think truthfully, I think they're probably on par. But I think Tim Weah has in the back of his mind like I need to defend more. But watch Xavier Gozo defend. The dude's got an engine for days. He never quits, and he's not afraid to get stuck into tackles. Where Tim Weah just doesn't have that defensive ability about him. At least in the games that I watched him play. Alex Freeman, maybe, right, if he's used properly, and Serginho Dest. I don't think Joe Scally is a better wing back than Xavier Gozo. I think Joe Scally is a better right back than Xavier Gozo. I don't
yeah,
think I don't think he's a better wing back. So,
I could agree with that.
and this is where it's at. It's now talking about positions and roles and responsibilities. Who's in a group of top five? Who's a better who's a third better player than Gozo? Right? I think Freeman's up there. I think Dest is up there. Who's better than Gozo? I don't have
I'd
one.
go Scally
As a right wing back, I disagree.
as a yeah, sure, but
That and
that's
that's
fine.
my whole point for the list. My whole point for the list is this is a right wing back, not necessarily a right back, and Gozo's better than Scally in that role. And I would take him if I had the open space and I wasn't filling it maybe with somebody else. Who knows? I'm not going to give away my group just yet.
I mean, depending on how you use him, I think I'd rather have Weah there because I think both of them are going to give you. I mean, Weah probably gives you a bit more on the attack, probably gives you a little bit less on the defense. But if you do it correctly, as the same way we talked about Arson, you have guys that can cover for him. Would I play Arson and Weah at the same time? Absolutely not. We'd be cooked. We would be so cooked.
I would
But
anticipate if I were the coach, which I'm not
yeah,
yet, but one day, Tim Weah would be my sub if I need to play a team in a 4-2-3-1. Or he'd be my piece as a 4-2-3-1. If I'm playing the 3-4-2-1 that works very well for us, Tim Weah doesn't see the field until he's a last minute number 10 substitution. And that's just the reality of it. He's just not as good of a defender. And again, I'm not saying we're taking Xavier Gozo to say, yeah, you're going to be playing big minutes and stuff. I'm reading Landon Donovan's book, and again, 2002 is a different time. But him and DeMarcus Beasley got called into 2002 thinking they were going to be the last two guys on the bench. They started and played every game, and they were very good. Landon Donovan wins the best young player of the tournament. Blah 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 blah. But if I'm gonna take those positions, it's again, I phrase it as a yeah, it's the last guy on the bench who's gonna use him. But I also want somebody there who, if we do put him in, he's not gonna fold to the moment, and I don't think Gozo does. So I'm not saying to take him and start him, but I'm saying that if I'm picking the top five right wing backs, he's number three.
Okay,
You know,
sure.
Freeman, Freeman we've talked about a bunch. Again, he needs to be used correctly. He's another one who might get thrown in at right center back, which I don't love. I don't think that's his best role. But what are we going to do, right? I'm not the coach, as we said. And then Serginho Dest again, miles above everybody else. So, um,
Depending on the day for
yeah,
him,
if he's
he's
healthy,
really depending on the day.
yeah, and if he's healthy, by the way, right? I know
Yeah,
he's
and
coming
if he's
back. He's
healthy.
played a good little bit, but injury prone, right? So, and
Yes.
again, right? Let's go hypothetical here since we're on the topic. Let's say Serginho Dest gets hurt or can't go for the World Cup. Alex Freeman slides into right wing back. Then you got to pick Tim Weah. Xavier Gozo is getting that spot for me. It's not going to
I
go.
think if Dest can't go, I just don't think you can run the five back. Or you got to throw somebody else in there. Maybe Weston McKennie plays there.
Weston McKennie's going to play nine positions this World Cup, and I'm absolutely here for it.
Or hear me out, sleeper pick, Kellen Acosta straight out of Poland. Who says no?
We need a bit of CONCACAFery
Greg
in there.
certainly wouldn't say no.
I love it. I love it. Yeah, that's the clip, by the way. This whole thing is gone. I'm just clipping that. Take Kellen Acosta to the World Cup.
Intro clip right there.
Love
Book
it.
it.
I love it. All right, listen, leave the comments below about what you think about Xavier goes to the World Cup. I'm gonna tag Matty Casey in this. I want Matty Casey's 3 cents on this because I know they're gonna be important. So, Matty, back me up here, buddy. I need your help. While we move to the center backs, which has gotten a little bit more clear in the last couple of camps. I think for a long time it was like, oh my God, we're screwed. We don't have anybody who's going to play. We've got one center back, and good luck, everybody else. But I think it's going to come up clear. Give me your top five, and let's talk about it.
Okay. So 5-1 for me. I've gone for, I think this one's probably going to ruffle some feathers. At my number five, I've got Tristan Blackman.
Love it.
Four, I've got Austin Trusty. Three, I've got Tim Ream. Two, I've got Mark McKenzie. And one, I've got Chris Richards. Now for the five spot, I'm going with the hot hand again. I thought about throwing Miles Robinson in here. I know people talk about Cameron Carter Vickers, but he's always injured. He can never stay healthy.
And he's hurt right now too.
Which is a shame because I think if he's healthy consistently, he probably is in this list. It probably is on the plane, to be honest with you. But Tristan Blackman is your reigning MLS Defender of the Year and has been fantastic again this year. And had he been more consistently involved with the national team in the last year or so, I'd hear arguments for him being on the plane. Sorry, I'm spoiling it again, but I don't think he's there just considering he hasn't really been in the mix as much. Four for me, Austin Trusty, a guy that's been playing much more consistently at Celtic than CCV. That being said, Celtic just had a crazy to call it a down year because they finished second, but for Celtic standards, they had a
They
down
haven't
year.
finished second yet. It come down the last day.
Okay. Apology. The fact that it comes down to the last day is
Will,
already
will
a
you
down
will
year for
you
Celtic.
up your Euroball knowledge? You're letting your
Okay,
Euro
regardless,
snobbery.
regardless, regardless, the fact that it's coming down to the last day is a down year for Celtic. They've usually had the title wrapped up for like 15 weeks at this point. So while Celtic's still playing well, and I'm sure he's winning a lot of games, I think some of that there's got to be some mentality there that it's like, oh, this has not been our best season. Maybe you point the finger at Wilfred Nancy. I don't know. Maybe you do. Number three, Tim Ream, the ageless wonder. I keep waiting for the day where he is going to lose his step and he's going to not be involved in the team anymore. And I'm sitting here still waiting. For me, I personally just don't think he is like if we're running a back four, I don't think he's a starting center back for me. I wouldn't be upset if he did, but I personally wouldn't pick him as a starting one. If we go three in the back, I'm okay with him starting there. because I think he has a little bit more coverage. But his experience is going to be so important at the World Cup, and so I think he's still a top five one for me. Number two, I went Mark McKenzie, an out and out starter every week for a mid table top French division side. I think that speaks for itself. The thing that concerns me about Mark McKenzie, and we've seen it consistently, is how he plays in the big moments. We've seen him play in the national team and have massive slip ups, the same way you talked about how Turner cannot do that with our national team.
Mhm.
We've seen it happen firsthand with Mark McKenzie. And so if somebody came to me and made the argument that Mark McKenzie should not be number two on this list, I am all ears for it. That being said, I just think the talent is there. Like we've seen it everywhere else outside of these moments that like he is a talented center back. And I want to believe that that's the case here and that he should be number two and a four back and be partners with Chris Richards. And so I'm gonna go with the optimism on that one. And then number one is no question it's Chris
Mhm.
Richards. He's our best center back. He's outside of Anthony Robinson. He's our best defender. He has been so good, and he's really locked down that spot. And it's just a question of who's going to be his partner and or partners in that center back room.
Yeah, we're close. I also wanted to put a fun number five in there. I keep hearing Nkosi Tafari in Defensive Player of the Year shouts. So I was like, oh, that'd be really fun to put in there.
There's
Uh,
no way.
it-
Really?
yeah, well, it was early on when they had conceded like one goal in 10 games, and I'm like, oh, well, he's been the best of the three. So,
Yeah.
um, so I was like, whatever. But I kept it really simple. Guys who we can be trusted in this group, and
Was that a pun?
oh,
Guys that can be
funny.
trusted.
No, no, but
No.
love it. All right, so my 5-1, I'm going George Campbell at five, Mark McKenzie at four, Tim Ream at three, Austin Trusty at two, Aaron Trusty for those of you who are ball knowers, and then Chris Richards at number one. So, like we were just mentioning, George Campbell doing very very well. Again, West Brom not doing magically, but it's not necessarily all his fault. He's done it. He's had a couple good shifts in there. To be the number five center back, I don't hate it in this list. Is he Poch's number five? Probably not, but I do think that he'll deserve a shout eventually, being a part of the group. Number four, you had Austin Trusty. I put Mark McKenzie. We had this conversation a couple weeks ago where, to me, if I had to pick McKenzie versus Trusty to start right now, it's Trusty. I just think that he provides a little bit more defensively and consistency over Mark McKenzie. We talked about McKenzie being a guy that has these up and down moments, and again in the World Cup we can't have it. Trusty, again in the very very sparse moments I've seen him play for the national team, gave me a little bit more confidence there. Tim
Say it.
Ream, what's
Say
that?
it.
No,
Say it.
no.
You could say he's a little bit more trusty.
You know how you keep asking to get powers to mute. I have them, and I will use them. Yeah, I think Tim Ream at three is the same reason you had. He's not the best defender anymore. He has a very difficult time dealing with pace. I watched it happen live. I will watch it happen live again, unfortunately, when we play Senegal. But he's very good on the ball. He's very calm under pressure. He's very, very intelligent, soccer IQ high. So, and a good leader. So, still in that mix. Trusty at two, and then Chris Richards at one, as we spoke about before. So, again, guys like Carter Vickers might be in the conversation, but he got hurt. Noah Kai Banks doesn't want to play for us, so see you later. Nkosi Tafari in the Defensive Player of the Year shouts for a while might be kind of floating around there. I think Miles Robinson and Tristan Blackman, those guys are kind of they're falling down on this list. They are, again, Miles Robinson on an FC Cincinnati team in the same vein as Celentano, right? Just leaking goals left, right, and center. And then Tristan Blackman, good, but hasn't done in the national team. So I have a couple of people who are missing out on my top five because they haven't done it with the national team, and I can't change that just because he plays in MLS. Sorry.
Yeah, by the way, I'm totally good with Trusty or McKenzie at two.
Sure, sure, sure.
Honestly, I would if I were gonna flip them, I would flip Trusty ahead of Ream anyway. I would keep Ream at three regardless. So
Agreed.
those two
Yep.
would flip between two and four.
Killer. All right. Well, to prevent this from being a 4 hour long episode, let's go on to the 6-8 players. This is going to be a very big pool to pick from, and there's one person who has to be in here, so don't mess this up.
Watch me mess it up. All right, so 5-1. I'm ready to upset some people because I know I'm going to upset some people with this list. Um, at five, I've got Sebastian Berhalter. At four, I've got Aiden Morris. At three, I've got Tanner Tessman. At two, I've got Weston McKennie. And at one, I've got Tyler Adams. So Sebastian Berhalter, I'm all right. I will just say that I definitely a little bit biased. I think he's a really good player. I think him and Kubas have been the best midfield duo in Major League Soccer in the last year and a half. So he's, I think, had good shifts for the national team too. Not every game, but I think generally he's been good for the national team when he's being played in the correct position, not
Mhm.
when he's being asked to play as a left midfielder. And so I would like, I mean, I think personally, again, it's a hot hand thing. Do I think he's necessarily the most talented? Like, if everybody's healthy, maybe he's not number five on this one for me, but I think he's still around in the conversation. Aiden Morris has played an insane amount of minutes for Middlesbrough this season, got them into the playoff, nearly had them in an automatic promotion spot, and I, from my understanding, has been very good for them. And we knew he was a fantastic player when he was in MLS. Um, we've waxed poetically about him enough times. You could probably go to any random video, and there's a decent chance that we are waxing poetically about Aiden Morris.
Except for
So
that
had
one,
to
except for that one where you said that he was going to fail at
no,
Middlesbrough.
no, 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 no. I never said he was going to fail at Middlesbrough. I just said that I just
Roll
said
the
that they
clip.
were. You can roll the clip. I said that Middlesbrough was not a good landing spot for him because they're stuck in the championship, and since that point, I've yet to see them make it to the Premier League. Um, Number three, I've gone for Tanner Tessman. He is somebody that is getting significant minutes for the fourth best team in the French division. I think he was labeled with an injury, but from my understanding, there was nothing that said that he was out. I saw
No,
that
he'll be
there
good.
was, yeah. So if that's the case, again, a guy that's getting consistent minutes for one of the best sides in France, I think is should be in the team. Especially because I think for the true like eight role, there's just not a lot of guys that fit that criteria. I mean, our top guy that does fit that criteria cannot stay healthy. So I think Tessman can play that eight role. And so I think that kind of bumps him up a little bit more for me. Number two, I've gone for Weston McKennie. Phenomenal player. And as you said, and maybe you didn't say it yet because maybe we cut it out, but he could play all over the field. Like you could play him anywhere. Right wing back, center mid, center attacking mid. He could be anywhere. He's just so versatile. Just both sides of the field. He's just an engine. He's going to run around everywhere. He's dangerous on corners. He's such an important part to this team. And if he's firing off and playing well, then the whole team, I think, is going to play well. But number one for me, Tyler Adams. Probably he may not necessarily be the best player on this team, but when he's healthy, he's arguably the most important player on this team. I mean, he is the first line of defense before we get to the back line. And when he's healthy and he's playing well, he does that job so well. I mean, he cleans it up. He commands the area so well. And then he can get things started on the attack. Like, sure, he's not going to run up there and score bangers and score tons of goals and win headers, but like, he's the guy we need there in that defensive midfield spot to just control the game. And so for me, when he's healthy, he is our best midfielder.
It's a good one. It's a good list. Yeah, this is gonna piss some people off here, and I'm okay with this. I'll
Yeah,
talk about
you
the
do
people that
best.
missed my list first. Yunus Musa, we've talked about him already. Doesn't do enough in his league. He's played 400 minutes over 18 games in the last year.
I'm
Sorry.
glad you agree with me on that one because I thought that might be a controversial one for me to not have him on there, but I'm glad we're on the same page
The
on
dude,
that.
he is the John Brooks of this World Cup roster, where people are
That's a
like,
great comparison.
he has
Yeah.
to be in. He's better than these MLS players. He hasn't
He plays
played.
at Serie A.
Yeah, no, but there need to emphasis on the word play. He doesn't play in Serie A. He gets the last 5 minutes of every game in Serie A. That's not playing, brother. Here's the deal: if you're still running the sprints with the subs at the end of the game, you're not playing. I hate to tell you.
Listen, he's
Um,
running on the field. You can't argue that.
Gianluca Busio was another one that just missed my list. A ton of minutes and goal contributions in Serie B. Now, in 2014, he's a starter in the World Cup team, right? Serie B, 37 games played, 7 goals. This dude's starting for the World Cup in 2014. But we've come quite a long way since then. It's good to see. Aiden Morris is the first name off my roster. Cause He hasn't done it in the national team. When we broke down the last two friendlies, I made it known that he was the guy who hurt his chances the most from those two friendlies. He just looked out of it. And I don't know if it was the system. I don't know if it was, he's coming off of his, time in Middlesbrough, who again does very well for Middlesbrough. Don't get me wrong. But I'm talking about the top five players for the national team. And this works in some, flexibility, players who can play different things, and some ceiling potential for what my list is. At number five, I've got Christian Roldan, mainly because he can play all over the shop, right? And when he plays for the national team, regardless of what the blue checkmark USMNT Twitter fans say, he doesn't actually play poorly. He makes maybe one mistake a game. So does everybody else. But just because it blows up on Twitter because everybody hates Christian Roldan doesn't mean he's a bad player. Sorry, hate to burst your bubble. One guy better than him, Audrey Mehmeti, Red Bull teen center mid
Oh
at number
God.
four on my
Oh
list.
no.
This
What are we
kid
doing
is
here? What are we
unbelievable.
doing?
I'll talk more about him later. Seb Berhalter at three for me, Tanner Tessman at two, Tyler Adams at one. Again, this is because Weston McKennie I played as a 10 in this group, so he'll be in the next group of players. But Audrey Mehmeti, and you are losing your mind over this because you don't watch soccer, so you don't get to say any of this. I've watched this kid for now 11, 12 games straight. He's not just the best player in Red Bull's team. He might be a top five player in the Eastern Conference. He might be a top five player in the league. This kid is unbelievable with the way he plays the game. The only thing that holds him back, and the reason why I don't know if he's necessarily being considered for this World Cup cycle, is because he sees the game really well, but it doesn't always come off for him. He still has his moments which aren't that good. Audrey Mehmeti is a top five player in world football in line breaking passes that go X number of yards. I don't know what the exact stat was, but this dude, as a center defensive midfielder, is picking line breaking passes like prime Busquets. Okay. And I use this because, and unfortunately, you weren't able to make this interview. When we asked him, sorry, humble brag. Yeah, we interviewed Audrey Mehmeti. Yeah, sorry. Cool. I'm not going to be upset about it, actually. I sat down and asked him, like, oh, what's your favorite player? Who do you try to emulate? Without hesitation, he said, Sergio Busquets. Okay, cool. And we sat there and was like, oh, what's your favorite thing to do? He's like, oh, I love hitting that killer pass. I love making that last pass, break the lines, and let the attackers do their work. And I'm like, okay, cool. Right. Then I watched him do it. Oh my word. This kid is levels above anybody else. There's a genuine three-horse race for young player of the year right now. Two of them play for Red Bull. Sadly, Red Bull don't have enough players around the two young players to do anything impressive. But these two kids, him and Julian Hall, who we'll probably talk about later, are out of this world. I'm not saying take Audrey Mehmeti to the World Cup. I'm saying if I had to pick five center mids right now, or center defensive mids who I want representing the U.S. men's national team, Audrey Mehmeti's in that list. Argue with a wall.
Okay.
Seb Berhalter goes to three because
I will argue with a wall.
yeah, if I put
Clearly, I
Mehmeti
am arguing with a wall because you got no brain.
if I put Mehmeti at three, you would have logged off the call, and we need to finish the episode. So Berhalter goes at three by default. Um, Berhalter is another one that hasn't really done it for me in the U.S. yet. But I don't think, with injuries to Sands, with injuries to Cardoso, I think we're a little thin at the center mid role. I hope he's not the first name off the bench when we need to sub somebody. I hope he does something like a Weston McKennie in there. But Berhalter's got good set piece delivery. He's creating a lot of chances in midfield for Vancouver. I think he'll be fine. I'm very excited to see Tanner Tessman get his shot here. I think he really, really deserves it. Um, Also interested to see if he might slide in as a center back at some point. We've been talking about him being a center back for a while now, but it'd be interesting here. And then you said enough about Tyler Adams, also former Red Bull, by the way. Tyler Adams. Don't know if you knew that, but Red Bull makes the world takes, especially the USMNT. And yeah, when he's healthy, he is I love the way you phrase it. He's not the best player on the team, but he is the most important player, right? Without him, it tends to fall apart. We don't have the destroyer. We don't have anybody to clean up the spaces. With him, it's a different story, right? Um, if I had Weston McKennie, he goes in at two or three. Berhalter drops. Mehmeti goes to five. Christian Roldan's out. But I wanted to put McKennie in at the 10 because I've seen a lot of mock lineups or whatever have him forward, so I kind of considered him in that role.
All right. Can we go back now?
If you
I
want to, I'll listen. You're not winning this one, so please go on.
Mehmeti is going to be, we're going to be talking about him in multiple World Cup cycles. No question about it.
If he chooses
He's
the
going to,
U.S.,
he's
which is why
going
we
to
need to cap
be,
time now.
he's going to be the best midfielder in the U.S. MNT. I have no questions about that. Now is not the time to bring him into the national
I'm not
team
saying
for the first time.
I'm not saying that I want him in the national team for
But
this cycle.
how are you going to say the number three player on your 6'8" depth chart is not making the national team?
No, the
How?
number 4 player is not making it. He's at number 4.
He said he was. I thought he was at. Who was number two again for you? Oh, Tessman.
That's right. Listen, you don't
Okay,
listen to me anyway.
still,
You're just you are like
still
anybody else
okay.
on
Wait, wait,
Twitter.
wait, wait.
You are just
Still, number
arguing because
four,
you want to be mad at something. You don't
number
know what you're
four
arguing
on your
about.
6'8" list is still not making the national team. You're taking what, three 6'8s?
Yeah, I'm not sorry. I'm not taking 4 center defensive midfielders. No, I'm not.
I'm
I'm
amazing
let me
player.
let me back up.
He's gonna
Let me
go
back up.
over to your what?
I'm not taking 4 center mids when we have somebody like Weston McKennie who can fill into that role. When we can change shape and do things differently with other players. I'm not taking 4 players in a position where we don't need 4. Sorry.
Mehmeti's gonna be in Europe in no time. Probably after the season.
Unfortunately, yeah, Red Bull aren't going to get to play
Yeah,
him nearly as much as he
you're
should.
gonna be you're lucky if he survives the summer.
I know.
Um,
I know.
and by before he even gets to the next World Cup, I'm sure we're gonna hear his name
Mhm.
in the USMNT pool. I have no doubts about that. But considering like 5 weeks ago he was 16 years old, I'm just not like, and this is his first professional season. I'm just not ready to be saying that he's the fourth best, currently the fourth best midfielder in our entire program.
Well, this is important because
Over somebody like Aiden Morris, who was like 2 games away from being in the Premier League and playing 3,000 minutes for his team.
and you celebrated when he didn't because otherwise you would have looked really silly.
Probably, yeah.
I'm not saying take Audrey Mehmeti to the World Cup today. I'm not. But if you're asking me who the top 5 players in this position group is, and I'm taking into account what I saw Aiden Morris do in the World Cup, or the friendlies that we played just a couple months ago, yeah, I'm taking Audrey Mehmeti. If you want to tell me Morris over Roldan, okay, I can have that conversation, and you can include him together with Audrey Mehmeti. I'm not
I
gonna
would take
sit.
Roldan over Mehmeti.
See, this is why you don't know ball. You want to know who? You want to know who rates Mehmeti even higher than I do? This guy called Michael Bradley. I don't know if you ever heard of him. He's kind of a legend. Kind of knows
Oh
ball.
wow.
Uh,
The coach of his team rates him really highly. Oh, crazy
yeah,
thought.
you
That's
know what he could be
wild.
doing? He could be playing at Red Bull too if he didn't rate him. Guess what? He rates him, and he's the best player in the league, minus
He
Julian
is
Hall.
not the best player in the league.
Minus Julian Hall, right? Julian
Oh my
Hall, and then
God.
Audrey Mehmeti.
I'm not gonna sit here and keep arguing with you because I know we're gonna have the same argument at striker. So let's just keep moving on.
Well, we're gonna go to the 10 first before we go to the striker, but please give me your number 10s from 5 to 1.
Yeah, no, I just considered pretty much anybody that was a winger or number
Anybody,
10.
yeah, anybody who's left.
Yeah, pretty much. If you're not a striker and you haven't been in a category before this, you're pretty much just grouped into this group. Um, Another group where the end of it here, I'm open to really whatever. But 5 to 1, I've gone for Gio Reyna, 4, Diego Luna, 3, Tim Weah, 2, Malik Tillman, and 1, of course, Christian Pulisic.
I don't hate that. I think that's okay.
Gio's a tricky one at 5 because talent wise, for me, he's probably the second best player in this group. That being said, the guy just cannot find a landing spot and get anything consistent going right now.
Mhm.
And I feel like I haven't seen him do anything meaningful for the national team in a little while at this point. That being said, I think just based on the talent alone, there's still enough there for me to keep him top 5. Also, the fact that I just don't think this group of like players that's fitting this category is super deep. So he landed in that spot for me. At 4, I've gone for Diego Luna. I think Poch likes him. I personally also like watching him play. I think he's a really explosive player. People were clamoring for him to get in the national team for such a long time. He finally got a shot, and I feel like he's done a good job with it. So number 4 for me was relatively easy choice, especially because I think he's versatile and wherever you want to play him in this attacking role, he could play on the wing, he could play in the middle. Really gives you some options there. 3, I got Tim Weah. I think he is. probably our second best winger right now behind Pulisic. But again, he's somebody that I probably wouldn't play centrally. That being said, you have the versatility as we talked about before. If you really needed to play him as a wing back, he could do that job to some extent. Obviously, you know where his weaknesses are going to be, and that's on the defensive side. But I've always really liked what Way has done for the national team and what he brings because you know what he's going to bring. Like he's not your star player that's going to be dicing up the defense and scoring bangers. Like he's going to be really pacey on the wing. He's going to play in good crosses, and he's going to make things difficult for the left back. But he's not going to be like coming in on his left foot, dribbling past three players, and like taking the goalkeeper on one on one. That's just not like the way that he's used. And so that kind of limited him for me ahead of like the top two guys. Like I think Malik Tillman is somebody at two that I think could do that a little bit more. I think he's a bit more of a goal scoring threat. I think he would be a really strong like number 10 for the team. I think he's done very well with PSV. We've seen bits and pieces of it with the national team. I'd like to see it more consistently with the national team, but think there's enough there that he's still one of our better attacking options. And then Pulisic is an obvious number one here. Whether we play him in the middle, on the wings, he's going to be our most dangerous player. And when he is on his game, he can at times be the entire attack for us. Um, so we're going to need him to step up big time. We're going to need to see the best of Pulisic. We're going to need to see AC Milan Pulisic. And I'm glad that he's been playing there because he's going to come in good form for us, hopefully.
Well, he's in terrible form right now. This is the worst stretch he's had ever. But
Yeah, but still, across the season, he's had a good year. Like it beats his years that he was at with Chelsea the years before that.
it beats anybody's years with Chelsea. That is a talent killer. But this is a list for me that is impacted on the fact that, I've put players in here that uh, not necessarily somebody you considered, or you move players in that I didn't, Weah being one of them. But 5-1 for me. I got Diego Luna at 5. I got Brendan Aronson at 4. Weston McKennie at 3. We talked about this. Malik Tillman at 2, and Pulisic as 1. Luna, I think, is just a grinder. He's a fighter. He bumped out. Let me talk about the players who missed off first, right? Gio Reyna, you mentioned it. He hasn't gotten game time. He hasn't found a sticking place. I don't think that the U.S. is in a position anymore where they can call in players who just, eh, you gave it your best shot, and I know you're not playing, but you used to be good, and you have a little something special or whatever. We're not at that level anymore, right? We've got enough players playing in quality areas that you have to be playing. You just have to be playing. Jack McGlynn's another one that I have who just missed out. Um, just that real nice cultured left foot would be a really interesting piece for the group. I just don't know if he's been consistent enough at Houston. Like he looked good against LAFC. I watched him play against LAFC. It looked really really good. I don't think he's been as consistent recently. So, and then Zendejas is another one who playing really well in Liga MX hasn't done enough at Poch's doorstep, unfortunately. Diego Luna's a grinder, right? He's going to come in, he's going to work hard, he's going to fight, 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 and that's something you need in a group like this. You just don't get a lot
Fight,
of them.
fight, fight, and win, win, win.
Brendan Aronson at 4. God, I love being in control. Um, Brendan Aronson at 4. Just another guy who's just been in and around, has looked relatively good at Leeds. Picked up a couple goal contributions, and again, not somebody who I think is going to light the world on fire, but has done enough 9 goal contributions in 35 games for Leeds. Um, I think he's done enough to at least be in the conversation. I don't know if he makes the World Cup, but he's in the conversation, right? Then we're looking at Weston McKennie again, somebody I think is going to play more forward this year in the World Cup, unless he's needed to drop back. I can see him being one of those guys who, maybe he doesn't start week 1 or game week 1, but then we start rotating, right? Okay, well, we need Tillman to take a break, right? So now you're gonna move into the 10, and then when Tillman comes in, you're gonna drop into the 6, right? We need an extra striker up there. Go play striker. You did it for Juve, right? We're running out of players at right back. Go play right back, right? This guy I genuinely believe is gonna play everywhere, but I do think that they're gonna look at him more as an attacking player this time round because of what he's done with Juve and his goal contributions in those teams. Malik Tillman, I think, is the best creator in the group. when it comes to line breaking passes and creating chances in the attacking third. We just don't have that level of creativity. My issue with him is his work rate at times. I mean, we talked about it in that those friendlies where he very easily could have gone out, challenged the ball, slid to block, and he just watched it go by him. There are moments when the team is losing where he is mentally switched off. He's like, I don't really, not really going to fight for it. That can't happen here, and I would hope that we're not watching that happen. And then you're right, Pulisic is the easy number one there. If he's not giving 15 interviews about why people are mad at him and how it makes him feel, and he's on his game, maybe we'll be okay.
Hopefully.
Yeah, I
Let's
hope.
just let's just put a muzzle on him for a few months.
Well, he's already done it. He's done another interview with the Cooligans, and their thumbnail is people can complain about me all they want. Dot dot dot. It's like shut up. Nobody
Ugh.
cares, brother. Go out there, dribble past four players, and stick it in the top corner, and let's just go home. Like I don't care
He
about why
really
people are mad at you for the
he
Gold
said
Cup.
shut up and dribble.
Yeah, you're right. I do sound very much like that. But at this point, it's less about politics and more about I don't care what you think of people from 2 years ago. I just don't, brother. Come on. Oh man, you know what I do care about? I want to hear what your thoughts are on the striker position because I have some very interesting thoughts on the striker position.
Oh, I know you do. I know you do. This is we're gonna end off on a bang, that's for sure. 5-for-1 for me at striker. I've gone for Damian Downs at 5, Brian White at 4, Haji Wright at 3, Ricardo Pepi at 2, and Fuller Balogun at 1. Now, with that said, at 5, put whoever you want. I really don't care. 5 is not touching the plane. He's not even looking at the plane. Doesn't even know the plane exists. I
I'm sure
threw
he knows.
Damian Downs on there. He wouldn't have been on the list had Pat Agyemang been healthy. So I just threw somebody in there. Could have been Josh Sargent, could have been Damian Downs. No, I was not going to consider Julian Hall.
Oh, we're
I
about
knew
to
you were
fight
going to
then.
go for it.
Oh, we're
I would
about to
not
fight
consider
then.
number 4. I've gone for Brian White. Again, we're talking form. He's a player that's done very well over the last few seasons. And again, I for me that it's the top 3. They're in a group of their own, and then it's kind of just everybody else. So I went with Brian White because I feel like he's gotten a little bit of experience with the national team lately, and he's been in good form. So he kind of jumped out of the best of the rest, but really not one for me that I'm heavily considering. Haji Wright, number 3 for me, a very underrated striker in this national team pool. Everybody loves to talk about Balogun. People love to talk about Pepe, and I get it, 100%. But there's not enough conversation going on around Haji Wright, who I think has been fantastic for a long time. And the fact that I think he could be a versatile option for us. He can play on the wing. If we needed to play as with wingers, Haji Wright can be an option for us. I can't say that about the rest of the strikers. So his versatility is another plus for him, but I don't quite think he's as lethal as our top 2. Ricardo Pepi, he is so good for the club level. I feel like he has done such a good job for PSV. And then for the national team, he's had moments, but he just hasn't been at that same level. Now, if we're talking about PSV Pepi playing for the national team, like at that level, I'd hear conversations for him ahead of Balogun. I really would. But that's not the case, unfortunately. I still think Pepi is the better clinical striker than Haji. So I have him at number 2. Um, but I don't think he has quite enough to displace Balogun at 1. I think Balogun's been the number 1 guy at pretty much since he committed to the US. And as much as he could disappear at times for the national team, I think he's the most talented out of our striker group. He's consistently playing at a top level at the club level. Um, and because he's been our number 1 for a while, he's just very used to be like playing with these guys. He has the chemistry. He understands the system. So for me, he's just he has to stay number 1, regardless of if he's in okay form or if he's in good form.
We're close. Your
Yeah,
number
besides one glaring difference.
your number one is off, and everybody kind of shifts down. But
You're right. I forgot Tom Barlow.
there you go. Now you're getting it. Now you know what we're all about here. No, okay. So here it is. Brian White at 5, Julian Hall at 4.
Four.
It's a legit, and you're not gonna like it. I don't care. You don't
I
watch
know I'm not
soccer,
gonna
so
like it.
your opinions don't matter until you start watching a game.
Is this the roster for the World Cup, or is this a daycare? What are we doing here? We're
Haji
taking a
Wright,
bunch of 17-year-olds to the World Cup?
I didn't say take him to the World Cup yet. Haji
Yeah.
Wright at 3, Pepe at 2, and Balogun at 1. Here's the reason why Julian Hall is 4. Between him and Brian Wright, and by the way, agreed. If Pat Odgeman's there, different story, right? Brian White gets dropped, Julian Hall goes to 5, and we're fine. Julian Hall in 13 games, just over 1,100 minutes, 9 goals, 3 assists. That's just in league play. You work in the U.S. Open Cup, he's got another 3 or 4 goals on top of that in 2 games, 3 games. The kid can't stop scoring. And this is on a Red Bull team that is fairly atrocious, by the way. I mean, this is not a fun Red Bull team to
You
watch.
cannot say that after you just wax poetically about Mehmeti.
Yeah, we
You
have
literally
two
just called him
players.
like a top 5 player in the entire league.
We have 2 players. We have the top striker and the top
You
center mid.
almost put Manny Dos Santos on this list too. That's another Red Bull
That
player.
is, I told you that was a pick I had to put in there because I didn't know who else was there. That didn't count. But Brian White in 12 games, just over 1,000 minutes, 8 goals, 0 assists. Julian Hall not only is scoring at a rate better than Brian White, but he's also providing assists and playing creator in a way that makes him more versatile than Brian White. The other thing Julian Hall gives you that none of the other guys, except maybe Haji Wright, can do is versatility in his positional play. When Choupo-Moting comes in for Red Bull, it's not for Julian Hall. Julian Hall drops in as a number 10 and starts creating. You want to play him out wide, he'll go out wide and create things as well. Julian Hall has that one, he's got the nose for goal that I guess the way I would phrase this, right? You always hear people talk about this. On every World Cup, there's one guy there who is just hot at the right time. Didn't hear about him right in Landon Donovan's time. Again, I use this because I listen to his podcast all the time. It was Herculez Gomez. Herculez Gomez just got hot in MLS at the right time, or League MX, whichever one he was in at the time, and got brought into the World Cup. He didn't play a ton, but it was the if we need somebody, he's got a nose for goal. He knows how to put the ball in the net. We're good. It could be Brian White. It could be Julian Hall. I don't care. But Julian Hall gives you positional flexibility where, again, if we're talking about a group of number 10s, right? Pulisic, Tillman, McKinney, and then you're thinking, do I want Brendan Aronson, Diego Luna, or somebody else? You have to start considering that sort of stuff, right? That being said, I don't think that he's in a league, like you mentioned, with the other 3. Haji Wright, wide player if we need him to, pure number 9 if we want him to. Scored tons of goals to get Coventry up to the Prem. No doubt about it. Pepe, scoring for fun overseas, and again, one of those guys. I might even put Haji right above Pepe in this if I really thought about it, because Pepe in the national team just hasn't done it. Again, injuries and form and times he's been called in, things like that. Sure, Flo Balogun is the pure number 9, starting number 9, without any question of a doubt. And if anybody says differently, I think they're wrong. So you can argue with a wall, but you will lose because Julian Hall deserves to be on the list of the top. Name other than you just said Damian Downs could get pulled out. You're asking me to take a guy who's got 14 to 15 goal contributions in 15 MLS games versus Damian Downs, who's played 12 games in the Bundesliga, scores 0 goals, 0 assists.
Yeah. I mean,
No,
Damian
you're not.
Downs has
I
been.
saw it. I saw you go through your page. Like, no, I'm not. But I need content, so I'm gonna say yes. You are clip
I wish that
farming.
were the
You are
case.
aura farming. That's what the kids say.
This is not
You're
aura farming.
you're engagement maxing. You're.
I'm clips maxing. Stop throwing out words you don't understand.
I don't know what I'm
Listen,
saying.
I'm gonna take the guy that's been in the national team pool over the guy that's played 1,100 minutes in his entire
What does he
career
have
so
two?
far.
What do you have? 2 caps?
That's 2 more than Julian Hall.
Julian Hall. Oh my God, Julian Hall ran the
I'll
youth
take Josh
national
Sargent
team.
first.
No, you wouldn't. Get out of here.
I would take Josh Sargent. First of all, I wouldn't take any of them on the actual World Cup roster. Regardless, like it's a top 4 conversation. It's everybody else. It's no question about that.
By the way, Damian Downs 0 goals in his national team appearances too. So cool.
That's fine. Like I said, I don't care who's number 5. If you really want to put Julian Hall there, that's fine. The other conversation comes with the 26. If you're telling me that he's in the 26, I'm going to fight you.
Okay. let's then move forward to the 26 and tell me. I don't know how I want to do this. This is a weird one. Do I want to just go all 26? Do we want to do position by position, like defenders, midfielders, strikers, or what do you want to do?
We could do position by position. I think rattling off all the players at once is a little too much.
Yeah, because then it gets confusing and you don't know who to yell about. So that's fair.
Exactly.
All right, give me your goalkeepers. Who are you taking, three or four?
I'm taking three.
All right, who are your three?
I'm taking Schulte, I'm taking Freese, and I'm taking Turner.
I'm taking Freese. I'm taking Turner. I'm taking Chris Brady.
I'm fine
Let me
with
actually
Schulte or Brady.
let me back this up. Sorry, let me back this up. This is my predicted what I think Poch is going to do, not who I want.
Oh, okay. Is
I
that
should
what
phrase that. I should phrase that differently. This is who I think is going to go. This is. I think let's do
we
that.
could do it that way?
Yeah,
We could
let's
do
do
it.
that
I'm fine with that.
because when this comes out, it's going to be a week before they announce the rosters, so we'll be able to say, hey, this is who we think is going. We can then compare it. Okay, so that's who I think is going. I think it's going to be Freese, Turner, Brady.
Yeah, if we're gonna go based off of what we think Poch is taking, I'm gonna go Brady as well. I
Okay,
agree.
cool. What about your? We'll do center backs because I think we're going to do a whole bunch of them there.
Okay. I'm taking four. I'm taking Richards, McKenzie, Tim Ream, and Austin Trusty.
I'm taking four: Richards, Trusty, Ream, and McKenzie. Very good. What a great
Go
start.
squad.
Go outside backs.
All right. I will go Anthony Robinson, Max Arston, Serginho Dest, Alex Freeman, and Joe Scally.
I'm taking seven: Robinson, Arfston, Dest, Freeman, Scally, Weah because I counted him there. You counted him in a different spot, and Xavier Gozo. Xavier Gozo is my 25th or 26th player. And again, I'm not expecting him to play, but I think he's done enough to earn the shout. If you can convince me of somebody else, and here's the thing, you are taking Aiden Morris probably, and that's where that change happens. Okay, fine.
We could talk about it later. Listen, I just want to preface, by the way, me being upset at you including like these young guys in there by no means is me saying that they're not good players. They're absolutely awesome players, and they're going to be in Europe, and they're going to be so good, and we're going to be talking about them in so many more USMNT cycles, hopefully, so long as they don't go to Chelsea. I'm just not ready for them to be in the World Cup roster.
There you go.
But
Cover those
that's
bases for
regardless.
when they come on the show. Good. Now you don't look
Well,
like you
I
hate.
mean, one of them's already been on the show.
I know
So,
that's fair. All right, talking about your center mids then. We'll do the
um,
6/8s.
I've gone for 5, 6, 8s here.
Yep.
Tyler Adams, Weston McKinney, Tanner Tessman, Aiden Morris, and Sebastian Berhalter.
Leaving Christian Roldan off. Criminal.
Yeah, I'm
I
a Euro
don't think
snob.
Roldan's missing out on this. I think he's Poch's guy. I think he's done enough to earn the shout.
I think that
So
would be hilarious. I would love that. By the way,
100%. Hook it to my
just to
veins.
preface.
Yeah, hook it to my
Yeah,
veins. I think he's going to take four, and if you want to count McKinney as a CDM, you can count it as five. But same group, right? It's going to be Adams, Tessman, Berhalter, Roldan, and I'll throw McKinney in there for fun. McKinney will be the fifth one, sure.
yeah. So we're on the same page. We just swapped Roldan and Morris.
Roldan and Morris, yep. And then your tens.
Tens, I've got Christian Pulisic,
Mm-hmm.
Malik Tillman. I had Weah in here
Yep.
instead of wing back. Diego Luna. I've got Giorena, and I've got Brendan Aronson.
Wow. Heavy on the attacking group.
Yeah,
I have four. I've got Pulisic, McKinney was one of them, Tillman and Luna. Again, with the idea that if we need to switch from a this shape to another shape, we're not going to play with those guys, a ton of them in the middle. We'll go out wide and utilize some players in wide areas instead. So we won't need a ton in the 10 role. I told you I couldn't take Giorena after playing 20 minutes in 2 years.
we're really not far off on number of players here. It's
No, I
just
don't.
the
I don't
way
think
that
so
you
at all.
categorized.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's just
100%.
like we both had Weah.
Yep.
He's still in there. Like really, the difference was just basically me taking Geo and you taking Xavier Gozo.
Yep. And then Morrison rolled on. Sure. All right.
Yeah,
Then talking about your strikers then, because you should have four, right?
I have three.
Oh, that's right. You have one extra. You have Aronson instead. Yep. So you took those three:
I went Balogun, Pepe, Haji Wright.
Balogun, Pepe, Haji Wright, and Julian Hall. Get in.
Stop reading books. All right, stop reading books. You're getting too influenced by the books.
Julian Hall as striker four is not the worst case scenario here. If you're telling me it's between Julian Hall and Gio Reyna, I'm taking Julian Hall, and I'm taking
I'm
him a
taking Gio
hundred.
Reyna any day of the week over.
I'm taking Julian Hall, and I'm taking him 100 times out of 99. I'm taking him 67 times out of 66. I don't know how many ways I can phrase this to you that Julian
Is that a
Hall,
6-7 reference?
very good. Look at you, hip with the times. Julian Hall clears Gio Reyna by miles, and I don't care to put that out
His
there.
form does.
Exactly, and that's what this
I
is
think
about.
I think Reyna's the more talented player. If you're asking me, like we're talking about the 26th guy on the roster. If you're asking me to pick a 26th guy, if you can get 15 minutes of magic out of Gio Reyna, I think he's giving you more than Julian Hall is giving you. No questions asked.
Yeah, here's what I
It's
want.
just and again, I'll hear the argument that there's no guarantee that you're getting your 15 minutes of magic from Gio Reyna, considering he has barely been playing on the field. But the potential's there, and we're talking about a guy that you throw in an absolute desperation mode. But if that's the case, I think Gio Reyna's got more. I think Gio Reyna has shown more talent in his career so far, and so I think that the ceiling is higher at the moment. And so I'm taking somebody who has that magic factor as our 26th guy on the roster. That being said, I don't think Gio Reyna, if he makes it, is getting more than like 10 minutes on the field.
Yeah, that's what I want to take the guy who hasn't played more than 500 minutes, hasn't been able to stick at any club, loan anywhere. Nobody thinks he's a good locker room guy, and then when he doesn't play, his parents go to the board and cry about it. That's who I want in my locker room instead of the 18-year-old who's going to put his head down and work as hard as he can to get the result for his country. That's what
Yeah,
I want. Yeah.
let's take the teenager who's just out of high school, has never played with the U.S. men's national team before, or the guy that's been in the national team like 36 appearances and was also at the last World Cup and has World Cup experience.
And
Yeah,
how did
let's
that go?
gift
How did the
him
last World
for a
Cup go?
teenager.
How did the last World Cup go? That's right. Oh, yeah. He called his mom and dad and said, Mom, Dad, I didn't play. And then what happened? Oh, yeah. They went to the board and said, fire the coach because this is America. Get out of here. I'm
They
not
were doing
listening.
everybody a favor. Greg out. He didn't have enough G's in the name, and he didn't have enough G's on the field, or G's in his bank account. I don't know.
Julian Hall every day of the week and twice on Friday. Sorry. Not even
Crazy,
close. Not even
crazy.
close. I probably should have thrown Mehmeti in there over Roldan too, just for fun. Just for fun. But I'm
You
not going
still
to.
can. You still
Nope.
can.
Nope. This is
There's
what I
still
think.
time to piss me off more.
I think Poch is going to go and give two spots to those kids who are young but can still play. I don't think he wants to take Reyna because he hasn't played enough, and he gave him his chance. He didn't look that good, and if he looked better, he would have given him more minutes. So he's going to give it a one. And again, if you're telling me that he's going to be stuck, and we talked about this when Pat went down, if you're telling me that he's going to be stuck on four strikers and he wants to bring four, I'm taking Hall over Brian White. I'm going to do it.
I just don't think he brings four at this point. You were only bringing four, in my opinion, if Pat was healthy.
Sure, and because again, he gives you something different. No disagreements there, right? It's a Hall is not Pat Odgeman, but if you're asking me what I need, I'm putting Julian Hall there,
That's
and
crazy
I think
work.
Poch is too because coaching brains, right? We're on the same wavelength. You tennis brain hit back and forth, keep very simple, right?
I I don't know what wave you're on. You're the waves in the kiddie pool. That's what you are. Quite literally, because you keep bringing all these like high schoolers on the World Cup team. A home
But
World Cup. We're supposed to be like semifinals or better, and that's a successful home World Cup for us. And you're ready to bring the high schoolers on the team.
well, and by the way, there's also this other side of it too, where all the kids that I added on here, all are looking at other national teams as well. You put them on a home World Cup roster and show them what it's like to be playing here, you might convince them to stay. Right? Gozo's looking at the Ivory Coast. Hall, of course, is being heavily linked to Poland, and Mehmeti's got Albanian citizenship, so he could go play there. Will he
I
pick
mean,
Albania, who never makes a World Cup, over the U.S.? I doubt it. Will Gozo take the Ivory Coast? I don't know. Will Hall go to Poland? It's very possible. So if you can get him cap tied now, tie him up.
but you're not going to cap tie them. Like as you said, these guys are probably not going to play.
When we're getting beat 4-1 to the Netherlands in the round of 32, throw him on there in the last 10 minutes and cap time.
Where's your optimism?
Oh, that left after the whole Gio Reyna parent thing. We were screwed after that. Oh man. Well, listen. The fun part is the we love predictions. We love listening to Connor's bad takes and my correct takes. So make sure you leave your comments below and tell us what you think of the roster that we predicted and our top five at each position, and share below what you think. We'll probably have a question of the week out there for, should Gozo, Hall, Mamadi be considered? Is it too early? Um, all that good stuff. But yeah, thanks so much, and we will catch you next time on the next episode of the Designated Players and MLS Podcast. See ya.